It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced, white-knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs. Get over to Joe's today and get yourself right with a little indoor kart racing, and you can watch, football's on break as we're waiting for the Super Bowl next Sunday. So, basketball? Is there basketball on today? I don't even know. You can watch something. I'm sure Mav TV's on the big screen to Quaker Steak and Lube like they had on last Saturday night for the Chili Bowl. But if you take your race receipt from Joe's Karting over to Quaker Steak and Lube, you get 10% off of your bill. Get over to Joe's Karting today. Do yourself right. A little indoor kart racing. And, man, as cold as it has been lately, it is a beautiful thing that it is the indoor karting facility.
Scratch your itch.
Today's interviews are brought to you by Red Oak Fabrication, offering powder coating at an affordable price. Get your chassis powder coated for just $275. That's for a bare frame. If you got some reworking to do or blasting that needs to be done, it's going to be a little bit more time because it's more labor intensive. You can give Jordan a call today for a free estimate, 712-623-4911, or just email him, jordanf@redoakfabrication.com. You can also find out more at redoakfabrication.com. Joining us on the show now, a sophomore in working on his sophomore effort for his entire dirt racing career. We're talking with Kyle Trout. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
Oh, enjoying another beautiful day and having a great time at the talking about racing. So appreciate you coming on the show. You got a hold of me a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, hey, I kind of want to come on the show and talk about what I'm doing. And we got to talking a little bit, and I thought, this would be a good one because there's not a lot of people coming into the sport as far as drivers are concerned because it's just a little bit too expensive. But you're one of them that's bucking that tradition, and you're joining.
Yeah, I don't know. My dad and grandpa did it for years, and I sat around waiting, and then I was lucky enough to kind of fall into a chassis last year, and it was just bare chassis with a body on it. So got online, started kind of looking around, like, oh, well, a crate is this much, there's this, there's that, and me and my dad kind of stood back and decided, we aren't even going to put this thing together. Let's put this out in the weeds. We're just going to go buy one turnkey.
Yeah.
So we picked up a Razor turnkey and got that on the track. I don't know. We're just super anal about things. So it took us 2 weeks to get a car that was race ready to our race ready. Went out there 2 weeks later, and I don't know. We just, I guess, jumped in and started going.
Yeah. What was your dad and grandpa? What did they do in the sport?
My grandpa used to race, I believe it was what was called a modified back then. It was a Ford Coupe.
Okay.
He raced out in Hastings. I was at the Red Cloud when they had a track. He raced out there. And then my dad, he raced, they'd be called FAM sedans in the 90s, but he raced those. Got a couple championships. I know one at Eagle, one at I-80.
So was that a Friday night flyer car at Eagle, I think?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was Friday. Well, I think it was called a couple different things over the time that he raced. FAM sedans, maybe at I-80, and then Friday night flyers at Eagle, something like that. But yeah. Yep.
So you got a little bit of, at least the family experience. So when your dad's sitting there in the pits, he's got at least a little bit of experience to be able to kind of guide you in a certain direction.
Yeah, it's great because, he never did anything with modifieds. He didn't like modifieds back then. He didn't want me in a modified. But I always enjoyed watching guys like Saubing and Dylan Smith and all them. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy an A mod because it's too rich for my blood. So I want a sport mod. So he finally gave in. And he's kind of gone, he's jumped right into the deep end and put in every bit of research that he could and see what transfers from what he did to a mod. Not a whole lot transfers, but what hasn't transferred, he's picked up. And, he does all my maintenance for me. He does all my setup stuff for me. And we've got a really good vocabulary, so it's easy for us to communicate with each other.
Really?
What's kind of going on, and that definitely helped us as the year progressed, for sure. Yeah,
that's something Dan doesn't understand, communicating with your father.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that we have a good relationship.
I have a great father, don't get me wrong, but our communication is lacking. It's absolutely true. We talked about that a couple of times on the show. What was interesting to me is that you've jumped right into a sport mod. A lot of guys will go sport compact, then once they get their feet kind of wet, they'll jump into maybe a stock car or hobby stock, and make their way up that way. I think there's probably some advantages to jumping right in because you don't have any bad habits that are going to transfer with you.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me was I always had an idea in my head on how to drive these things.
Yeah.
And I was entirely wrong. So first month and a half or so, I just tagged the rear, trying to figure it out. And, it seemed like the more you try to baby these things, the harder they are to drive.
Absolutely.
So once I kind of finally figured that out, then we were making progress. I think by the end of the year, I think we led, 20, 25 laps or something in heat races. Never led anything in a feature or anything like that. But I think we're just making steps in the right direction.
Yeah.
And we got a new car, so that'll help too.
Nothing's going to beat seat time.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And that's what everyone said too. I would ask a couple guys, I talked to Harker and Adam Armstrong and a couple other guys that have been doing it for a long time. And they're like, I'm not really going to tell you much of anything except put your butt in the seat and keep going.
I think that's something that I've definitely applied to a lot in life is that anything you do, if you want to get good at something, you can't do it just once or twice a week.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to do it at least 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, think about our jobs. We do those 5, 6, 7 times a week, and we get pretty good at them pretty quick. Well, imagine trying to get good at something once a week for about 25 weeks out of the year, and then you take the other half of the year off, and you forget what you learned in those 25 weeks.
Yeah, that's like, with this new car, my dad, once we ended the year, he's like, well, everything you learned, good luck remembering it next year because everything's going to be different. We got a new car, and yeah, it was hard just racing one night a week. We're kind of hoping to, try Columbus out some this year, I-80 some this year. We'll race Eagle. We'll race Eagle weekly. I'd like to try to get down to Beatrice and maybe some stuff over in Iowa too.
Okay.
So
The only part that's bad about bouncing around to all the different tracks like that is you don't build up any points at the track to ever give you an advantage in a starting position.
Yeah, I could care less about that. I won't be chasing points for a little bit. And if it were up to my dad, I wouldn't be chasing points ever. He's like, we did that, and it just took our lives away from us. And let's try to have fun with this instead of chasing points and chasing trophies. So.
Well, the fun part, and I don't care who you are, and you might not want to admit it now, but the fun part of racing is winning.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, if you're showing up all the time, or you're going to track A on one month and then this track B the next month or whatever, you're never going to get the points to even have a top 5 or 6 starting spot in a feature or something like that. You'll be tagging the back, which if you win from back there is pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely advantages to the points racing and then advantages to not points racing. The big thing with the points racing is it's a good payoff at the end of the year.
Yeah.
In January when you get that check for the championship or whatever finishing position or rookie of the year, most improved or whatever you get, it helps in the next season. But it can get to be an incredibly daunting thing when you're talking about only racing 12 weeks out of the year. But we're talking about racing during the heart of summer when it's hot, the business is up. You got business you got to get done. You want to go on a family vacation? Well, you better wait till September or October.
Yep, forget that. Forget weddings. Forget it all. Yeah.
How many championships we heard guys talk about, and I think we did it last weekend too, championships were lost because they had a wedding they had to go to for a friend, and they thought, well, missing 1 points week, I'm just going to have to do it to be at this friend's special day.
Was it Tyler that said that? He lost a championship for a wedding? Grossenbacher?
Yeah, he did that 2 years in a row.
Yep, 2 years in a row.
He's a better man than I. I probably would have said have fun to my significant other and went on to the racetrack.
So, what tracks did you run last year? We kind of talked a little bit about you raced Eagle a little bit.
I raced Eagle, and then I did that weekly, and then I raced Beatrice once at the end of the year. That I don't know what was that September Fest deal. I raced that, but other than that, it was just bouncing around at Eagle weekly, basically. Okay. Yeah.
Well, for a first year, there's nothing wrong with just picking a track. Like you said, you're getting your feet wet.
Yeah. And once I guess we both, me and my dad, feel more confident in being able to points race, then maybe we'll park it at a certain track and try to make a run at it. But it's just, at I-80 or Eagle or even Beatrice, it would be so hard to points race against guys like Borgman and Harker and Mary Lynn. She gets better every week. I can't count how many times she's flown by me on the outside. So, we just more seat time and more practice, and then we'll try to start chasing points.
10 years from now, best case scenario, what are you driving? What are you racing in?
I always kind of had a fear of sprint cars, but now I've kind of got a little bit of a peak of an interest. I'm obviously too late in my career, and I don't have funds I'm going to go race NASCAR or,
forget about
or
that,
World
though.
of Outlaws or anything
Best
like that.
case scenario, though. Where would you like to be?
You can go to I-80 and race NASCAR.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah,
you've got the
exactly.
funds
It's
to do
sanctioned
that.
there, yeah. If I had a track, even just one track championship in my career, I'd be totally happy.
But would you like to race a late model? Would you love to race the Lucas Oil Series? Are you more of a sprint car guy?
Honestly, if I had to choose any like the premier classes, it would be USMTS.
Okay.
That's definitely the one that I like the most.
Yeah,
of all of them.
those are the fun ones. I mean, it's still, I think the Cup Series in NASCAR is great, but there's obvious drawbacks that some of these drivers have talked about that it's just too exhausting. Not just being at a track every weekend for 36 or 40 weekends, but just the media requirements and the sponsor obligations, and it's just too much. It's so much more fun to just walk out the back of your hauler, start working on your car, drop the thing down, go out into the lineup, shoot, go race, and just have a good time.
You don't have a contract to answer to anybody that way.
Maybe
Yeah.
a beer at the end of the race.
Yeah,
or two.
exactly.
Anything else? Who's your sponsors helping you up and down the road on a weekly basis?
So I got a family business, Reinboth Plumbing. They're a huge financial contributor. They're out in Bruning, so they do plumbing in Bruning, Geneva, Hebron, all out that way.
A little more in the central Nebraska area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe's Karting and Buddy Ray Jones. He from about the day after I bought my car last year, they've been, just incredible with how much help he's given me, whether it's specialized tools or, borrowing his scales, that kind of stuff. So he's sponsoring us as well. That's a huge one. He's helped a lot.
He is. He's really a racer's friend. I've never seen him turn somebody down at the racetrack or to help them out.
Yeah, and he didn't know me for anything, and he lent me out a set of $3,000 scales so that I could scale my car to how I wanted it.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He's always been great about that stuff. If you're ever at a racetrack with Buddy and you need some tips or tricks or advice or a part or a tool or anything like that, he's always been grateful to help.
And if you don't have the stuff through that Joe's Karting deal, he's got the means to get it for you. I needed a Panhard bar on Easter, and he drove in there. He was like, yeah, I got it. Come pick it up. On Easter, he opened the doors to let me in. And then we also have RS Customs, or shock package builder, whatever, out of Cozad, Nebraska, that has helped us out this year and given us a really, really smoking good deal on a full shock package. That was something that we didn't have last year and didn't have the funds to get last year after buying a car. So that's something that'll help out a lot this year. Yeah.
Anybody else helping you up and down the road?
My mom and my dad.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without them. And then my grandma and my grandpa, Jake White, he helps out quite a bit with us too. And my family for putting up with it.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It always looks like it's going to be so much fun, and really it is, but it can get very daunting, as I was talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's nights where you're like, wow, that was a lot of fun. I can put the thing on the trailer in one piece. All I got to do this week is unbolt and grind tires, and then there's other weeks that you don't even want to look at it.
Yeah.
So, part of the gig.
Yep, absolutely. Kyle Trout, what's the car number again?
88.
88. All right, man. Good luck out there this year. What's your first planned race of the season? You going to go to Beatrice?
Yep, we'll be at Beatrice in March, as long as it's not 20 degrees outside. I'm not one for the cold. So
who knows? Somebody was posting the other day. It was 60 degrees in December. And I think we've got a day coming up this week. It's like Tuesday or Wednesday that it's going to be a high of 3 with a low of -17.
Yeah, I'll just stay inside.
Do you have a racing page yet? Just follow you at Kyle Trout?
Yeah, there is a Kyle Trout Racing Facebook page out there for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot for coming in. Best of luck this season. We'll see you in the pits at Eagle.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll be back on the front stretch.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. Joe'sKarting.com for more information.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, rolling into turn number 2, and it's time to talk to Grant Nelson of the Iowa Gambler, local event going on that we're going to get you more details on the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Good morning, Grant. Thanks a lot for joining us, bud.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Enjoying another beautiful day talking about racing. You've got another event coming up, the Iowa Gambler.
Well, he's got one coming up real soon, a little before Iowa Gambler. Gambler won't start until probably midsummer or late summer, but you've got another rally coming up.
Yes, sir. First of all, this one is a little different. It's not technically a gambler event. I guess it's still kind of going to be a lot of the same people there. Some of the cars there. I think there's going to be a Cutlass there from the Omaha area, Council Bluffs area, that's been running gambler events. But this is going to be kind of a different idea. I think they call it the Malaise Road Rally. So the idea is we're going to run some Malaise era cars cross country, running 2-lane highway, kind of a paper map navigation. You got street addresses you're going to try to find. We might give some GPS coordinates as like a backup, but going to make things interesting.
So what is give us the roundabout details for this. How can people get signed up? What are the requirements? That kind of fun information?
Where we starting, where we ending,
yeah.
Dates.
Well, that's the best part. The start is going to be an undisclosed location in the Omaha area. Probably going to be somewhere in western Omaha, but we'll announce the exact start about 24 hours from the actual start of the event.
I think they told Jimmy Hoffa the same thing.
What's that?
I think they told Jimmy Hoffa the same thing.
Yeah, there you go. You got the right idea. No, so this is going to be basically a glorified road trip, but we're going to try to make some fun out of it. Head out to Vegas for the Mint 400 race. We're going to watch that this year, hang out in Vegas, do whatever you want. This is like a gambler event, free entry, the no entry fee. You basically get what you pay for. You know, it's one of them deals. You make as much fun as you can. You're responsible for your own vehicle, fuel, towing bill, breakdowns, hotel rooms, whatever. But, you know, it's not geared for speed. This is going to be kind of a leisurely little road trip down. The idea is to stay off the interstate, explore some Americana back roads, middle of nowhere, see some, you know, historic or whatever touristy trap type locations along the way. But who, what, when, where, why, we're looking at evening on March 4th. The goal is to arrive in Vegas in time to watch the Mint 400 parade down the Las Vegas Strip on March 6th. We're going to be launching out of West Omaha, and the goal is to snap a picture of your car in front of the fabulous Las Vegas sign on the Strip, south end of the Strip there. The idea is Malaise era cars. What's that? Well, in the 70s, they decided to launch a bunch of new regulations on cars. They started making the cars slightly smaller, but still pretty big, especially compared to today's standards. But they detuned the engines. They weren't really known for you know, horsepower or reliability or fuel economy, and it's going to be interesting running them across country.
Well, it's a beautiful country to go across there, and I like the fact that you're not hitting the interstates, because that's probably the biggest shame of the interstates is that you miss so much of this Americana.
Yep.
Exactly, a great word.
Yeah.
Now, what if you don't have this, you know, mid-70s or late 70s type of, you know, a Cutlass Pontiac? I mean, I know the cars you're talking about.
Oh, sure.
Are you allowed to go ahead and bring your 1993 Volvo or something like that?
Well, that's the beauty of it is. I mean, it's run what you got. We'll look down our long noses at you if you're not driving a 1977 Chrysler LeBaron, but if you're driving that 93 Accord, you're probably actually going to make it. So that's the plus side. You know, but that's the fun of it. If you've got the aviator sunglasses and the denim shirt and the denim jacket and the whole works, heck, if you even got the right type of mustache and the mullet or whatever, but you're really going to get the full experience that way. You know, if you got the 8-track player, ideally something from mid-70s. If you've got a Caprice, they ran the same car from 77 up to 1990. So, you know, The idea is you're running that big old boat with no power and questionable reliability, but yeah, run what you got.
So this is
a Facebook. Go ahead.
An imitation cannonball run. Am I kind of getting
Well,
this type of
who
feeling?
doesn't like a 70s police chase movie with them big old tank cars? Obviously, hopefully the police aren't chasing us, and the goal isn't to speed or break any laws, but driving across country in some big old boat like you used to see in the movies, or that's kind of nobody ever has an excuse to do something like that, and it always kind of be fun. Well, now we're finally coming up with an excuse to do it. The goal is ultimately to drive from coast to coast one day, and yeah, kind of like a cannonball rally, but we're not going for speed here. We're just going to try to make it and maybe try to keep the cars grouped together at some point. That way you're not running by yourself all the time. But,
the goal, every time I've gotten in trouble, it's never been my goal to get in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know. There is people out there looking for trouble sometimes.
That's a good point. Do you have certain points on the map that you're going to get together at night of the 4th or night of the 5th and kind of convene there and have a good time as a group? Or is it kind of get as far as you get, find a rest area, pull over to the side of the road safely?
The plan is to leave it as wide open as possible. Seems like people have more fun if you allow them to use their imaginations. And if you micromanage every last detail, it kind of sucks a lot of the fun out of it.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to have checkpoints. There's a really neat, air quotes here, rock formation in west central Nebraska that we might swing by. And anyway, stuff like that. But, we're going to be hitting a lot of these points of, kind of guide people on similar highway, but ultimately you can choose your own path. I don't see any reason to go out of the way, but we'll have recommendations on where people are probably going to be staying at night.
Mm-hmm.
Gamblers, we love camping out, do it cheap, but if it's going to be March, in Colorado, it might be a little chilly. So, it'll probably be cheap motels on the side of the road or sleep in your car or do whatever you have to, I guess.
Just great stories to tell in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, something to tell the grandkids.
Yeah, it should be fun. Should be pretty scenic. Get some neat pictures of some old cars lined up on the side of the road or whatever you happen to have, I guess.
And it's all free.
Yeah,
I guess I shouldn't say it's all free.
We're not taking money from anybody for this event. The idea is to have a head count somewhere around mid-February so we can make enough packets, roll out a sheet of paper with some addresses on it and envelopes. And, I'm not saying it's 100% planned out so far, but we've got, 6 weeks to go, 5.5 weeks. But it'd be kind of neat if we had a sheet with GPS coordinates, and if you could prove that you didn't open a sealed envelope, if you didn't have to, that might be worth something extra. If you can make it to all the points, make it to the finish line in your 1981, Bonneville or whatever, that'd be worth something there. But again, it's all for fun.
Yeah.
There's no cutthroat competition here. It ain't about speed. It ain't who's got the most money. It's not who's going to go the fastest. Just out road tripping, seeing some stuff you ordinarily would never see.
Now, I know along lines you already said the Iowa Gambler is going to come up in August. When about is Mini Bike Gambler happening?
Oh, well, we're hoping to have several different mini bike events going into the spring, test and tune events, whatever. It's one of those things. If you've got a mini bike, they're fun to ride, but if you're riding by yourself and you don't know anybody and whatever, you kind of don't have anybody else to ride with, it's only so much fun. If you can get a handful of your buddies together, it don't matter if you're riding locally or if it's riding some big event somewhere, it's ultimately more fun. So I know Nebraska Gambler is going to be having a race, some kind of endurance style race in May. I don't know if they've set a weekend yet, so we're looking at having our endurance race in July. I'm looking at July 28th right now. Hope to get some events together, just kind of get meet up and ride type events between now and then.
So, do you guys just go some area where they've got some type of a course already laid out, whether it be for
over here in Iowa,
motocross or something?
We got several OHV parks over here in Iowa, and sadly, the one in Council Bluffs along the river suffered some trees falling down, and it's flooded this last winter or fall, and so I think they announced the other day it's closed indefinitely. They're hoping to fix it back up sometime soon, but I know there's a lot of mini bike riders in and around Omaha, Council Bluffs. We'd like to get those guys out to an event, but if you got your mini bike registered in the state of Iowa, it's off-road motorcycle. It's pretty cheap and easy to do. You pay an annual fee, and that goes to pay for all these parks, and there's all different types of terrain to ride on. They've got like a motocross track so you can whip your mini bike around. Anybody can ride a dirt bike on a trail, but it takes somebody with some real bravery and skill maybe to ride it around with no suspension and really no gears. You're fixed to basically one gear and small motor, and you can have a lot more fun that way. It's kind of like a gambler. Anybody can drive cross country in a modern car, but if you're driving around a $500 piece of crap, it's a lot more of a challenge.
You know,
you can't tie one arm behind your back and see what you can accomplish.
You know, it is enticing to drive around the country in like a nice new modern vehicle, because it's obviously there's a comfort factor, but you know, it's kind of hard to describe. But I do sometimes miss the days of my old truck when like the radio was out. I would hear the different sounds of the engine and the road and the wind, and you know, you kind of got to experience, is a bit of a light word for it, but almost live a little bit more into the travel.
Yeah, yep. It's definitely harder on a person to go 1,000 miles in a day in an old junker, because the vibration, the noise, and maybe some fumes off the engine, who knows, but leaky exhaust. But yeah, you're really experiencing a lot more of the trip than to jump in your modern car and you're completely isolated from the weather and the noise, vibration, and you got a nice sound system to listen to.
Yeah.
And perfectly operating climate control, and it's kind of fun to take a trip in an older car. And like on a gambler rally, there's the impending doom of, is your car going to break down the next quarter mile, or is it going to go, another 25,000? You just don't know.
I got your next event for you lined up, by the way. I think you need to do the Oregon Gambler, and they all have to come in chuck wagon, driven by oxen. You got like a gunpowder.
He obviously hasn't
musket.
seen the pictures from the Oregon Gambler, because he knows that isn't going to be possible.
Well, it sounds kind of like our trip last year. I tell you what, in 2017, we met up with Joel and we drove out there, and we figured it was enough of us. We'd be just fine. We had, I believe, Cares Motors gave us gave Joel a pickup to use, but we figured we would trailer one car and we'd be able to keep the other two on the road if we had to trailer one, and got along great. I don't even think I touched a wrench the entire week. All the way out to Oregon, all the way back, 4,600 miles round trip. Had a great time. In 2018, we attempted the same thing, and I think I wrenched more times in 7 consecutive days than any point ever in my entire life. Never left a wrench from my hand. I know I ran out of gas. It takes exactly 4 miles. There is a rest area 4 miles east of Bosselman's truck stop in Grand Island, and that's exactly where a 2000 Chevy Blazer will run out of gas if you leave South Central Iowa to drive that direction. And so I was lucky enough to get a little gas to get there. And then we barely got into Wyoming, and a guy lost a wheel bearing. And when we got that fixed 3 hours later, we got on the road, and then I blow a radiator hose. And it's just every time you turn around, it was something. It was the most grueling trip out there and back.
Well, I know Joel somewhere along, I remember him posting pictures of bending one of the control arms in the front of the Volvo.
Yeah, that was the Sandhills Challenge last year.
Okay.
I wasn't able to make that one, but hopefully they can get out in the Sandhills again. It looks like a lot of fun. I can tell you there's a Beatrice, Nebraska Ford Focus wagon that currently resides in a junkyard in Salt Lake City. They gave me a hard time because we made a little stop out at the Bonneville Salt Flats, and out there on the Salt Flats, you can kind of drive wherever you want, drive as fast as you want. But anyways, they were...
What was your top speed?
77 mile an hour.
Not
Very
bad.
disappointing. It's 80 mile an hour speed limit on the interstate on the way there. That's what it is west of Salt Lake. And I couldn't even go that fast on the Salt Flats. In my defense, I was only running on 5 cylinders, and my wheels were chucked full of salt because I found an area that was just a little soft. But the Space Force Ford Focus was faster than me, and they let me know about it for the rest of the trip. And so on the way home, they about had wheels fall off their car and ended up selling it to a salvage yard. And then I was able to drive mine all the way back to Iowa. So who got the last laugh?
Yeah. Well, having those wheels full of salt, boy, that will kill the Arrow.
Yeah. Well, it ain't much fun. And
did she shake a little
in
bit?
West Wendover, there's a nice car wash where I made a hell of a salt deposit when I washed that thing out.
Now the car wash is rusted away.
You should.
Yeah, that's a bad deal.
You should have kept a little bit of it for your margarita.
Oh, there was still plenty. I mean, when I was back in Iowa months later, every time it'd rain or you'd slam the door, plenty more salt would fall out. But,
so if anybody wants to get involved with this Mellies Rally and go hang out in Vegas for a few days, I mean, I know you guys don't allow gambling or anything like that in Vegas. You're just there to watch the race. How can they get involved with you?
Well, there's a Facebook page. We like Facebook because we can make pages on there and it don't cost nothing. The whole thing here is there's no overhead, there's no charge. So we'll make a This one's a group, actually, so you'll have to find us on Facebook. If you punch in there Malays Malays Road Rally, you can request to join. They'll ask you some questions there. It's pretty light, harmless stuff. If you got an old car, what do you happen to have, whatever. And more than likely we'll let you in and kind of give you the details from there. But that's pretty much straightforward. We'll announce, it's kind of a mystery. I'll tell you it's West Omaha, but to let you know exactly when and where, it kind of keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
The whole thing is you can build a little suspense and have a little more fun with it, but ultimately it's just a glorified road trip out to Las Vegas.
So for our phonetically challenge, is that Malays, Malaise?
Yeah, Malaise Road Rally. If you want a little history, that kind of goes back to a speech from Jimmy Carter back in 1979. Crisis of Confidence speech. It's a good one if you want to look that one up. But just goes back to the feeling of sick, the economy back then. The cars had no horsepower. They're big and heavy and slow and usually broke down. So we want to relive those days for some reason and drive those cars cross country.
Oh, the good old days. Grant Nelson of the Iowa Gambler going to be doing the Malays Road Rally coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Your deadline to get signed up, Grant, I think it's sometime early February?
February 15th. That's just when we just need a head count. If we're going to have a packet to toss out to each team with paper maps and recommendations of where to go and what to see and where to take a picture and maybe some places to sleep at night. Ultimately, you do whatever you want within the limits of the law, but we'll have some recommendations. If you want to be anywhere near the rest of the teams, you'd probably behoove you to follow some of that stuff. But, we just want to have enough things to hand out to people to start. If you get on the page, click going or whatever, and we'll get an idea how many people are going to be there.
All right, buddy, we appreciate your time. Have a great trip, and we'll talk to you very soon, probably to get set for the Iowa Gambler in August.
Well, we might even give them a call and see how this whole deal went down, maybe later in March, and see what we missed out on.
Yeah, see if there's any stories you can actually say on the air.
You don't necessarily have to miss it, if you timed your trip right. The show's here on Sunday morning, so you can take off Monday night and be back by the next Sunday to talk about your trip.
Yeah. Well, the bad part for me is having to schedule 3 dialysis treatments along the way. That's what...
that'd be a challenge on the side of the road as your cars broke down.
Not quite as few dialysis clinics as there are Jiffy Lubes on the way.
Yeah. If I could figure out how to do it at a Jiffy Lube, I'd be all in.
Although we could start a contest. Who's going to break down first, Dirk or the car?
Yeah. Well, that's the first thing you want to do when you're driving this questionable old car that's not known to be reliable is to head out cross country as far as you can from the nearest auto parts store. I mean, what else would you do?
Yeah, for me, it's heading out from farthest away from the nearest dialysis clinic.
There you go.
Those machines aren't very portable.
No.
All right, Grant. Again, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, Grant.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Once again, Grant Nelson of the Iowa Gambler. Get more information on this one, the Malays Road Rally, coming up March 4th through the 6th, leaving in an undisclosed location in Omaha. You have until February 15th to get registered for it. Again, it's free to join and free to be a part of. They're just trying to get the information out to people in an organized fashion. So setting a deadline of getting registered for it February 15th.
Don Chase, this if you're listening, man, this sounds like something right up your alley. I know you've done the 24 hours of lemons up in Oregon and a few things like that. This is something I think you and a couple of your buddies would have a blast doing.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Turn number 3, we're going to sit down with Bob Harris of Adams County Speedway. We'll be back on the front stretch.
Finding a home can be the most important decision in your life. It's the simple factors of neighborhood, garage size, the school district, and commute that get overlooked by most realtors. Those are the aspects that Jim Blazina has been focusing on since 1988. From rental properties to your forever home, the Racing Realtor will work hard to get you exactly what you're looking for, and he can help list your home for a speedy sale. Contact Jim Blazina today, 402-980-8400, or jblazina at npdodge.com.
We all have that coworker that runs their mouth off at how great they are. They shot a 5 under par, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, bench press 375, brah. Wouldn't you love to shut them up by schooling them at Joe's Karting? Council Bluffs' premier indoor karting track, professionally designed so each corner is your opportunity to embarrass your coworker. Call Buddy for your next company outing at 712-256-5278. Joe's Karting, white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue next to AMC 17.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole of the front stretch and the home of MAV TV, featuring action from the Lucas Oil Late Model Series.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Located on Mid-America Drive in Council Bluffs.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, rolling into turn number 3. Just about ready to wrap, halfway through the show this morning. Boy, it's rolling on pretty quickly, isn't it, Dirk?
Always does.
Getting ready to talk to a local announcing legend, Bob Harris, over at Adams County Speedway. We've talked about it before, doing some amazing stuff at ACS, trying to get more drivers involved, trying to get more fans involved, the young kids, and now you guys have worked up some new ideas. Bob, first off, thanks a lot for coming on the show. And you guys have obviously had a very busy offseason, not been laying down on your laurels.
That's right. Thanks for having us, guys. We appreciate being on the show and talking racing here when there's a foot of snow on the ground and it's 16-degree weather outside. But yeah, we haven't been messing around. We've been really working on the off season. Of course, we had a great 2018 season. We capped it off with our banquet last Saturday night and crowned all the winners and all the drivers on a great season. And so, we had to make some tough choices in the off season to move forward with 2019. We are no longer going to run late models on a weekly basis, but we're super excited to bring 3 SMLR Melbourne Bank late model races back to the Speedway. They'll be back, 3 times this year. They only raced 5 times last year weekly. And then with that decision being made, we have made the modifieds the premier division. The B mods will be Division 2, Division 3 will be hobby stocks, 4 will be the stock cars, and compacts will be the top Division 5. So, with that, we think there's going to be a huge excitement for the modifieds. They're going to race for $650 to win, $125 to start. Basically, all the drivers at ACS in 2019 got a raise, whether it be weekly purse or the point fund, because of the shuffling of the divisions for the Wheeling All-American NASCAR Series.
Tough thing to make that call to reduce the late models like that, but unfortunately there's just not a lot of drivers out there to support a weekly class when you're talking about over in the Adams County area.
Well, bottom line, it's expensive. If you want to go fast, it costs dollars, and it really seems that the guys really want to go run the SMLR Series. It's a great series. It's growing. A lot of different track owners want to add dates to that. So I really think we're actually going to help late model racing because we're going to really solidify the Melbourne Bank Super Late Model Series and try to get our weekly classes increased up to get more people racing, and then maybe hopefully get them to jump up into that bragging rights and then up under the late models. So it was a tough decision. It's just we don't have a lot of homegrown late model guys. And, obviously there's even, the question is, why'd you do the modifieds? Because there's, sometimes those numbers were down. A lot of those guys want to travel. And so it was a tough decision, but we're excited about the season. We're excited to still have late models at the Speedway. I'm a late model guy from way back in the day at Sunset, so I never want to see those guys go away. We've had too much fun watching late model racing side by side throughout the Midwest. And I think this is going to solidify it. They can come back to the Speedway. It's not a death sentence per se. It's hoping to build it and get some more young youth involved in that class to see what happens in the future. But we're focused on the 5 classes that we have, and the modifieds class is going to have over $12,700 point fund. And here's the fun thing about the modified class being the Division 1. Everybody's a rookie if they haven't had a premier license in the past. So the potential track champion for 2019 at ACS is over $9,000 if he hasn't had a premier license. He could win the state title, Rookie of the Year, and also the National Rookie of the Year, which is $3,000 bonus on top of the $5,500 he'd win for the track title and also the state title from NASCAR. So if that doesn't entice the modified guys to come out of the woods and race for some serious cash, I'd be racing's in deep trouble if that don't bring some modified guys at the Speedway.
Yeah, that should definitely entice them, and I think that you'll definitely get some guys out there, and that's really exciting about the Premier Class possibility of winning that. If there's anybody like Luke Ramsey that has got to experience winning the track championship at Adams County, winning the state championship, you really do get treated like a king when you get to go to North Carolina and do the whole awards banquet.
Yeah, I've been there twice, and Billy Layton represented both racetracks, I-80 Speedway and Adams County Speedway. I mean, he got 2 helmets, 2 driver suits, 2 pair of shoes, all the prizes from winning the Nebraska and the Iowa State title. Luke was the Rookie of the Year in the late models, and obviously the national champion from the hobby stocks. And really, the last several years, we've won the last 2 national titles in Division 5 from Adams County Speedway, so we want to keep that streak alive for the NASCAR Wheel All-American Series. So, if you look at all those late model guys that have gone down there, now we're going to have the likes of a Ryan Jenkins, a Jacob Hobscheid, a Jesse Dennis, Jeff Wiggins, have the opportunity to be crowned a Iowa State championship and experience what a lot of those late model guys have had over the years.
Very cool experience. Really excited about that. So talk a little bit about getting a NASCAR license at ACS this year.
Well, the Adams County Fair and Racing Association really stepped up again, not only making the commitment to go to the 5 divisions, but what we really thought in the off season is, there's 230 guys that raced at the Adams County Speedway last year, and not a lot of them race for points, and so they don't really get advantage of the point fund that we have, which is a phenomenal point fund. Not too many tracks even do a point fund anymore, and so we thought, how can we get an infusion of dollars into everybody, so everybody benefits, not just the track champion, not just the people in the top 5, but everybody who comes to the Adams County. So what we did for the early bird special, if you buy your NASCAR license from the Adams County Speedway, but before March 1st, we're going to waive your driver number, which is $25. You're going to give you a $25 off your concrete pit pad. The Motorsports Warehouse from Boone and Des Moines, they threw in a $50 voucher, so everybody needs parts putting their race cars together, so there's $50. And then Adams County Speedway is going to give you $10 coupons to use throughout the year. So that's a $150 value. The premier class is $205 for your NASCAR license, so it's going to be really, we're going to save you $150. You got to come up with $55. And then the other classes, they're free. That license costs you nothing to come to the Adams County Speedway. So hopefully, if given that money up front to the drivers, they're going to get instant cash back. We're basically going to pay the drivers to show up and race for some fun around the half-mile racetrack at the Adams County Speedway. And I think that was that's basically a $10,000 commitment on behalf of the Adams County Fair and Racing Association, and give it right back to the drivers. And everybody benefits, not just the track champion or the top 5 guys. And we also got a crew membership deal for them as well that they can benefit on it too. So we wanted to spread the wealth and give it to everybody. And I think that huge NASCAR instant early bird savings is an amazing thing that I don't think any racetrack's ever done that I've ever been around racing.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one, that's for sure.
So, I think it's just beneficial for a guy that is starting out, that, he won't see a point fund check at the end of the year, or if a guy's going to, skip around each racetrack, we're going to pay you, and you're going to get a discount on the pit passes, and that's a vital part of the racing. But I think it's a big thing.
And that license, the NASCAR license that you're talking about, it's not just good at Adams County Speedway. It's good at any NASCAR-sanctioned dirt track, and that includes I-80 Speedway. So where you would pay a NASCAR sanctioning fee to I-80 and be able to go run Adams County, now you can go and register, race weekly at Adams County, and use that same NASCAR license at I-80 Speedway.
Absolutely. I mean, we kept the stock cars and the compacts aligned with straight up alignment with the I-80 Speedway, so those guys can chase national points. If there's any late model guys out there that want to go race for some modified deal and take $9,000 home, they could come ACS and run the modified and run the late model out at I-80, because they're both Premier Division. And B-Mods, they could take their B-Mod from ACS and go run the modifieds over at I-80 that help the field out there. So there's a lot of different ways to cross over and get points to maximize for the national point standings, and not only selfishly keep it from the Adams County Speedway, but I-80 and ACS, we've sent a lot of people down to Charlotte, being the 2 NASCAR tracks in the Midwest, through Bowman Gray and Stratford and all those other tracks. We represent well from the 2 tracks here in the Midwest.
Absolutely. I know we've all been talking about dressing up like Eskimos every time we go outside because it's bitter cold, but in about 8 short weeks, we're going to be a season opener at Adams County Speedway for the Greg Miller Memorial.
Yeah, we lost 2 great racers last year. Kevin Sharp and his family, Amy and the kids, were lost in the Mexico tragedy down there on vacation. And, of course, Greg Miller his health turned bad, and we lost him. And so, talking to Paulo and the family, we wanted to make sure that we wanted to honor Greg Miller at the beginning of this Crack a Cold one on March 30th. And so we're going to have basically the Greg Memorial at the beginning and the Kevin Sharp on Friday night of the tradition. So just to honor those racers, I've obviously, just the Don Moores and those guys, stock car guys, as we grew up from Sunset, they are the heartbeat of stock car racing in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys were great.
$1,583 to win for the modifieds, $1,083 for the stock cars, $783 for the B-mods and hobby stocks, and $583 for the compacts. That's a heck of a payout for a compact.
Yeah, in a one-day show. So I've got some more cards up my sleeve that I'm still trying to solidify. One of those exciting thing that we're doing is the Chase for the Drivers Championship. We award a Driver of the Year, so it's kind of a everybody get together and throw names in the hat. Well, I liked it, but I didn't like it. This way, we're going to throw some money at it. So we want to thank Stocker Chevrolet for coming up with $3,000, and we're going to do our own Chase format for the Drivers Championship. It's going to be outside the track and outside the NASCAR Championship, but it's going to be for all 5 classes. So it could be a compact guy that wins this thing, or it could be a modified guy that wins this. You're going to accumulate points to the midseason championships. If you make the round of 16, you're going to get paid. That's being the top 16 in the point standings. And then we'll do a round of 12, round of 8, and then round of 4. We'll get paid on either the night before our championship or on the championship night. It'll come down to 4 drivers, just like the Cup Series. And we want to thank Stocker for coming up that. They're going to get points for the heat races and the feature and bonus wins for heats and features. So we want to keep these guys engaged. We don't want them to fluff off in the heat race and just get qualified. We want them to go get bonus points and maximize their points, because we threw some money at this whole Chase for the Drivers Championship, brought to you by Stocker Chevrolet.
So if somebody's got a real smoking season going on and 2 weeks to go in the year, has the title wrapped up, they still got an incentive to go run for some money.
That's right, buddy. I want to be engaged all the way. Sometimes the guy does have a phenomenal year and it's wrapped up and it's kind of a snooze fest. I didn't want that, Dirk. I want all the drivers to be up on top of the wheel and be hammered down. And so this was just another idea to come up with that. We also got the McCunn Specialty Firearm Shootout, where it's anybody who gets a feature win, they're going to race for over $2,000. So if you see a trend at ACS, we're trying to find more ways to get more money into the drivers' hands, and so we're coming up with unique promos and stuff like that. So we invite, if you haven't been there for a while or haven't been there we invite and give us a shot in 2019 and see if you guys can take home some money, because we're going to roll the red carpet out for all the drivers and crews and fans and just try to put on another great 2019.
Well, it sounds like you guys are well on your way. We're only into January, so I suspect you've got some things up your sleeve of more announcements still to come.
Yep, I would like probably to come back middle of March or 1st of March, because I'm not even going to even hint about it, because I want to keep it top secret. These drivers are going to love it. So we're going to do a 1-week point average this year. So it'll be a nice deal for guys who come in and out once in a while, and the guys who run weekly. It'll definitely be a cool championship. Also got the Sloop for service. Working on some. I will tell you, I'm working on an Apache helicopter for that deal.
That's what I was just thinking. You're going to give rides in the corporate helicopter.
Yeah. Well, last year we landed 2 paratroopers on the front stretch with the American flag hanging off one of them, and that was super special. So proud of Custom Diesel driver training for that, and Warner Trucking. They helped us put that on. Obviously, we did the fireworks, the 3 SMLR shows, the tradition, the Crack a Cold one. And we'll do our free night and salute the farming. We had 4,500 people in the grandstand for that. So we're pumped up and excited. Of course, we're going to have lots of kids things again, bicycles and candy drop, money grab, and the little e-powered series 12-volt deal. We had 24 cars one night. We had 2 heat races. All those little kids brought their 12-volt little cars and raced them around a big circle. So
wow.
You got to get the kids, because they can't drive to the racetrack. The parents got to bring them. So. Yep. That's kind of a marketing 101 to get the kids first.
Bob, we always do appreciate your time. We'll have you back on in March whenever you're ready to come back and make that big announcement. And I really appreciate you pulling every string you can to let me fly that Apache helicopter.
I'll work on it.
Hey, Bob, let me just tell you that Dan broke a grain silo once, so putting him behind the stick of that helicopter probably not a good idea.
What do you think's more likely, Joe and Steve and Lisa taking me to North Carolina for the awards banquet, or me driving that or flying that helicopter?
Well, I wouldn't hold your breath for either one.
I wouldn't either. Bob, always do appreciate your time. Make sure you get more information. Adams County Speedway Corning, Iowa Facebook page. I believe the website is raceacs.com.
Nope, just acspeedway.com.
acspeedway.com. Always do love having you on the show. You're welcome back anytime, sir.
You guys do a great job. Thanks for keeping racing up.
Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye. I don't think I'm going to get on that helicopter, am I? They're not going to let me. It's pretty much a known rule in the military. Don't let me anywhere near anything.
Well, if they let you on the helicopter, it might be so they can push you out when they get up in the air.
I've been pushed out of a perfectly good airplane, but I think I'm going to be missing some critical equipment this time if they do that. acspeedway.com for more information. Do appreciate Bob Harris joining us. Man, they're doing some amazing things at ACS.
Yeah, they've got some thinking out of the box going on. It's about the only thing you can say, you know.
Right.
Putting some of that money up front for the racers like that and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how the racers react to it.
For so many years, for several years, I was really worried about their ability to continue to do weekly racing, and all those fears have gone away since they've gotten this current ownership together and the ideas they're generating. ACS is doing some amazing things. The racing's always been there. All the drivers have told me they love going and racing down there. It's a nice, big, open track, fast speeds, everything you want. And now the board members and the operations and Bob and everybody that works with him, they're just doing amazing things to make it more than just a night to come out and watch some guys turn laps and race for a points championship. Now you have so many more things that you can do down at Adams County Speedway.
Yep. And they've done a very good job at bringing the money in.
Yeah.
You know, their sponsors and stuff that have come on board, and sounds like are staying on board. They, like I said, you know, I think they're liking some of the ideas they're hearing from ACS also.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in turn number 4. We're going to announce the Daytona 500 party. We'll give you details on what you can win, how you can win it, where you need to be, when you need to be there, and all the great details. That's coming up in turn number 4 on the front stretch.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Hey, look at that. You're sitting on your couch playing Halo, Madden, or NASCAR while your friends are at Joe's Karting. Each lap is an adrenaline-filled, heart-pumping, white-knuckle experience that you can only get at the Metro's largest indoor karting track. Eco-friendly Honda engines rip you around the professionally designed road course at breakneck speeds. Can you reach the 14-second lap bracket? There's only one way to find out. Put the controller down and get to Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs next to Quaker Steak and Lube.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up, and like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, it's going to be a pretty brief turn number 4. We'll just say we're coming out of turn 4 with a head of steam. We're going to get to that finish line pretty dang quick today. Wanted to make sure and give plenty of time to Grant Nelson, Kyle Trout, and Bob Harris of Adams County Speedway, which all of them took up some good chunk of time. So that leaves us just a couple of minutes in turn number 4 to say thank you to Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. You know, we talked a little bit about it last weekend, but again, you know, we try not to talk on it too much because it could be a bit of a mind screw that we record on Thursdays and we speak like it's Sunday, and you know, last Sunday we didn't have the results for the Chili Bowl, but I got to say thank you again to Quaker Steak and Lube. The Chili Bowl ran late, anybody that watched it, and Quaker Steak closes at 11, but they were nice enough to stay open till about midnight for all of us to finish up the race, close out our tabs, have another beer, and watch as Christopher Bell Surprised the heck out of me. I couldn't believe that he was squeezed by on that final lap to steal the win away from Kyle Larson. And boy, I watched that post-race interview when I was sitting at home, thanks to Racing Boys. And Kyle Larson was one unhappy driver after that race, and not at Christopher Bell. I think he was perfectly fine with what Christopher Bell did. He was more mad at himself.
Yep. It was almost like a Mario Kart race or something. It was just the last 2 laps of the race was kind of crazy. But, Quaker Steak was great. That checkered flag flew at like 11:47.
Yeah.
Because I just remembered how we were trying to keep track of if the race was even going to start before 11 o'clock or not and stuff like that. And the boss manager come over, and got okayed to stay late and stuff. And, it was great that they worked with us on that.
They're awesome to work with, and we're going to be doing it again for the Daytona 500 viewing party. We've done this so many times in the past, and we're just going to keep on doing it. The Daytona 500, green flag is set to wave on Fox at 1:30 on Sunday, February 17th. So we're going to kick off our party on at 12:30 on the 17th. Get you there about an hour early. I know it's going to be a long race, but that gives you time to get into the pools, the cash pools, the contest that Quaker Steak puts on, the contest that we put on. So you've got a great opportunity to win some amazing stuff, some great cash, some Quaker Steak and Lube gift cards, all sorts of great stuff.
And obviously Quaker Steak will have all kinds of specials and stuff. I mean, they'll announce that. We'll have that information for you a week or two in advance. But they always put something out for us and try and take care of everybody that comes out, show a little appreciation.
Usually they'll do a lube tube and wing special, which I always partake in because I've always got a couple of people that can help me finish the lube tube, and I can never finish.
You need help.
I can never finish a full bucket of wings, so I've got usually a meal or two to take home with me for later that week. So we'll be announcing that pretty soon. But the Daytona 500 party, it's a great way to just get out and kind of interact with the fans. Wear your favorite drivers' numbers, even if it's a Ricky Rudd or a Rusty Wallace, and you've got some old throwback stuff. Wear that and just come out and have a good time. And you can win. We do trivia questions. We do NASCAR math and true false, where you got to ask questions like, Dirk, true or false? Denny Hamlin drives the number 11 UPS Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing.
False.
False, because he drives the
number 11 FedEx Camry.
Exactly. So
JGR.
It's little things you got to listen for when doing those trivia questions. People love doing it. And we also have dirt track stuff. It's not just the NASCAR event, even though, NASCAR is going to be featured that day. We've got autographed items from dirt track drivers, from Brad Sweet, Donnie Schatz, and Sammy Swindell, and Jason Hughes, and Scott Bloomquist. I mean, all the great items that we have to offer that we give out at these things. And all you got to do is come out, have some beers, enjoy yourself. If you don't drink, have a pop or a mixed iced tea and some great food. I mean, the steaks and the burgers and the wings and everything that's great to eat out there. You can enjoy the day and win some great prizes.
Yep, the Philly sandwich was good that I had watching that midget race, because that was something I hadn't tried. I'd made my mind up before I went that I was going to try something different.
Yeah.
And I know you're cracking up because I said the word midget.
No, I was laughing because Sarah came with me as usual, and we were sitting down and we were talking about what we were going to eat. And I'd been craving wings for a long time, and I wanted these wings, but they've got this GTO Gyro that I saw them in the menu, and I thought, ooh, I better get that because it may not be around by the time we come back in February, because they change the menu every couple of months. And so I decided I was going to get the GTO Gyro, but when the waitress came by, I ordered a compact bucket of Arizona Ranch wings like it was just kind of habit, and Sarah goes, you decided to not get that. Oh yeah. So I got something different, and that Gyro, oh man, that is so good. I love that stuff.
How were the fries, Sarah?
Yeah, I got a big old side of fries that I really didn't get to enjoy because Sarah took them all. But I guess that's just what happens when you're in a relationship. What's mine is just hers.
Yep. If you've got $5 and she's got $20, she's got $25.
Exactly, and I have nothing. I don't have $25. I have nothing. I have some eye candy on my shoulder. That's what I've got. So I guess I shouldn't complain too much. But get over to Quaker Steak and Lube coming up February 17th. Now, Joe's Karting is going to be opened up a little bit early that day, as they usually do on Sunday. You can head over to Joe's Karting and do a little bit of racing before you come over to Quaker Steak and Lube. And like we talked about earlier in the show, in turn number 1, you can take your race receipt from Joe's Karting over to Quaker Steak and Lube and get 10% off of your bill. So on top of the fact that you're going to get a special for coming down for the front stretch, you're going to get a little bit of a discount for going over to Joe's Karting and taking care of them.
And you've should have already got your emails for the Fantasy League. to get into that. And just remember, you can make your picks up till the green flag drops.
Yeah,
scheduled green flag drops.
To enter the contest, I'm setting a deadline of noon on February 17th, and that's the Pick'ems contest on the front stretch presented by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners. It's a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated. You can find out more at truewealthpartners.com or just head directly to Rick's site, rickhavenridgeadvice.com. rickhavenridgeadvice.com takes you right to his page, and you'll be able to contact him directly. But that contest is absolutely free, and you can get more information on the contest at Quaker Steak and Lube and get we'll do last minute signups there, but don't push the limit too much. If you want to get involved in the contest, I would highly suggest you get into it. At least get your username created and get set before noon on that day, because their servers, it's a national company, so their servers can get tasked pretty quickly.
Well, and the guy that runs the website, he even says that. But as I found out last week, if there's a packed house at Quaker Steak and Lube, the Wi-Fi can be a little troublesome.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We greatly appreciate Kyle Trout for coming on and talking about his sophomore effort in his sport modified. Thanks to Bob Harris of Adams County Speedway for joining us, and Grant Nelson of the Iowa Gambler going to be doing the Malise Road Rally coming up March 4th through the 6th, coming from some undisclosed location in Omaha, and we're going to end up in Las Vegas.
Wish we could go.
Yeah,
I really
that would
do.
Be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Make sure you get involved in that, because it's all about not costing you a lot of money, because it's free to get involved. All you got to do is have an
your
old
gas,
beat-up
your
car.
food, your motel.
Right. Transportation costs, and then just creating memories. I mean,
it's a camaraderie deal. Like
Yep.
I said, I did a Nebraska Gambler a couple of years ago, and it was a blast, and I look forward to being able to participate in another one soon.
You may be getting tired of saying this, but we greatly apologize to anybody that tuned in for Jordan Grabowski today. Jordan texted me the day we recorded, and he was too under the weather. Just said, I can't talk. He's another one of these people that had just come down with this terrible flu that is going around. So I said, not a problem, buddy. We'll do it next week. So we are going to try to get him back on for next weekend's show,
along with Spencer Boyd, who we just can't get our bases touched with.
Some of these guys, they get busy with life, and they're just not able to kind of narrow. We're not able to get locked down for 15 or 20 minutes to talk to them, so we just have to keep kicking them down the road, and we'll get them on eventually.
Well, last week Spencer ended up bagging a new sponsor, so he had to go for a sponsor's announcement instead of giving us his time, so we totally understand, but we're still going to get him back on.
Thanks again, Kyle Trout, Bob Harris, and Grant Nelson for joining us. Thanks to Joe's Karting, Quaker Steak and Lube. Thanks to RedOakFabrication.com for sponsoring the show, and as always, thanks to Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners for presenting the Pick'ems contest on the front stretch. Find more information, rickhavenridgeadvice.com. We're going to do it all again next weekend as the front stretch enters the month of February for 2018. It's going to be race month, Dirk.
It's getting close, close.
Just a couple of weeks away.
I'll break out in the hives, probably.
We'll be back next weekend to do it all over again. This has been the Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
The official watering hole of the Front Stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is happy hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are kids' night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.